Hi everyone, let's talk about my favorite picks. And more specifically, let's talk about my favorite pick set on the market right now. And that is what is currently in front of you. So there are 3 lock picks with 6 workable ends. And there are 2 tensioners with 4 workable ends. Let's talk about the picks first, because the picks are where all of the magic happens. So we'll see that each of them have actually a different working side for each side, which is different, if you would know, for Moki picks. And the specialty of Moki pick normally is that they have the duplicate of the profile inside of the handle. So what has changed here? Obviously they have one working end and they have another working end which is different from what would normally be in the handle. And as you can see, I've applied the handles already. Normally this would be bare metal. So what has changed in these picks that have differences from the normal picks? Let's look at the first one. The first one is a rounded 1 profile with a pointy 1. And this is my favorite pick ever, no matter what. No matter the pick, no matter the profile, no matter the choice that you have. This is my favorite pick because it has the medium reach of the point with a slight, if I'll show you, scallop at the end to allow lower reach pins first before a high reach pin. This is especially workable on the Australian Bilock, which I might have here. Sorry. The Australian Bilock. The highest cut pin is perfect for this size. You might see that this is the perfect size to just go about 3/4 of the way up without actually interrupting any of the ones at the lowest cut. That is the perfect size for the highest cut in a bilock comparative to its lowest cut, which means that this is the best pick that you can have for bilocks. And otherwise, for general usage, you have the rounded one from Moki, which is also the best pick, in my opinion, for general use. What can you use it for? Well, you can use it for this Lockwood 334B45. This has seen some use, this has seen some war scars, but this is undoubtedly one of the most ubiquitous Australian locks and one of the most ubiquitous locks across the world. You can see how it works in here. You can see each pin stack and the empty pin stack here, which just has brass because these stock come with just 5 pins. I'll go reverse and I'll show you these pins. So we'll see 5. So that's 3, that's 4. And we should go a little deeper for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 is always the hardest to get, but it's 1. And so obviously this pick is able to pick all of those pins without any issue, even as low reach as it is. Let's say that you have a more difficult bitting bow that these picks cannot tackle. You have immediately a more high reach solution with this here. This is the Moki pointed, and this is the deep Moki pointed, as well as the flat too. This is a flat pick for all of you American pickers who prefer a flat pick compared to a rounded pick. Moki picks that are flat are actually quite thin in profile, and you might find that these thin picks work just as well as the round, whilst also giving you the feedback on the pick tip that makes you feel like you are using a flat. Because it's quite thin, there are lots of lockpicks, Peterson, bare bones, even some multi-picks that are quite wide-shanked. And I have talked a little bit about it before. The wide-shanked picks are not my favorite kind because the thinner-shanked picks are more usable in harder locks. You want to talk about harder locks? I'll tell you about this Asa Twin. The Asa Twin is the gold standard for high security and is potentially the hardest lock that anyone will ever meet. You want to talk about hard locks? We'll talk about this. The Gold Z is the Japanese highest security lock that is found on certain lock fronts. This is a lock that will never be seen outside of Japan, but also at the same time, if you are interested in picking the highest security locks, this is a lock that you will be well acquainted with that requires a lock pick that has high reach and high depth, whilst also not interrupting other pins. You can see maybe that warding, especially at the top. You can see that there is quite a bit on the left side as well as the right side. It's a bit open at the bottom, but it gets harder. If you need more convincing, sorry about that, you might look at this. This is an Asa Twin Combi, and it has a quite open top of the keyway, but at the same time you can see warding on the left and on the right, especially at the bottom. This second lock pick with the flat, which can also double as a round, will easily go through all this warding, whilst also being usable on its side. One moment as I focus here. It will also be usable on its side as a pick for the side pins on this Asa Twin. So obviously it is a lockpick with lots of utilization potential. And finally, there is this pick, which I think is just always useful to have. A rounded 2 and a rounded 4. So what are these useful for? Well, the rounded 4 is the deepest Moki pick that is rounded. It is based off of the SS Dev Deep Rounded. It is based off of the multi-pick, which took from the SS Dev designs. It is the deepest rounded hook that most brands can get you. I think that Law Lock Tools gets you a deeper one, but Law Lock Tools also offers different profiles. They also offer a rounded 2, which is, to be honest, my favorite profile of all. And it just opens everything. It's a rounded pick, so it can get through warding. It is a rounded pick, so it is able to get more precise pin placement. It is well finished enough that you feel no drag during a keyway. Let's take another keyway. This Twin 6K that I opened that I showed earlier, not opened earlier. But you can see it easily opens through any of the pins that are inside of here, despite the fact that there is an amount of warding. And I'll show you this first pin. This warding does not impact the picking performance at all. These picks are made of 0.5mm or about 19 thousandths of an inch. 301 high yield stainless steel. They're the best steel on the market. They're the steel that I recommend. And they are, in my opinion, the most useful picks on the market. If you could have one pick set, I would say it's this, and it's not even close. let me put the keys to those locks away, if you would. To go along with the most useful picks, obviously there are the most useful tensioners. There are 2 tensioners involved in this kit. I honestly would prefer to see more, but you can add more as you like. There is the 1mm or 40 thousandths pry bar. This is the standard made by Peterson. Peterson Manufacturing in 2008 began as a lockpick manufacturer in America. For a long time, it was the gold standard of lockpicks. Between the time of about 2016 to 2021, they were the best lockpicks on the market, but they were superseded by brands such as the Moke Workshop Moki. They created, or rather not created, but popularized a pry bar design that was initially seen in the 1978 lockpick design manual, which is uncredited, but is well known as one of the most useful designs in all of Locksport, because this pry bar is not able only to be used at the bottom, but also able to be used at the top of a keyway. So they give you in 40 thousandths and 50 thousandths. 40 thousandths is usable in a lot of locks. That is 1mm at the top of these combies, where the 50 thousandths or the 1.2mm would not fit. You can see that it struggles to get a grip, but also that they would well benefit from the extra thickness at the top of a Twin 6000, where there is significantly less slop than a 1mm, which you can see there is this much slop before actually influencing the core here at about 10 degrees, or here at about -10 degrees, whereas the 1.2mm goes at about 5 degrees and +5 degrees. So obviously there is a great deal of influence with these tensioners that are caused by the difference in thickness, because these are the same tensioners. They have a short end and a long end, depending on how deeply set your core is. The low set end is for locks that are right against the surface. Again, these ASA Twins are like that. You know what else is like that? These Goals from Japan. You know what else is like that? Sorry. This Lockwood here from Australia. This is a cutaway by Down Under Monkey. And you know what else is like that? Sorry. It's like this clavis from Japan. This is the Q22. High pin count, 22 pin lock. That is from Japan. You are not going to open this without very fine tension control, as well as very good pick placement. These locks come and go as they are, but they must be treated well, and that is why you need tools like this. One moment, sorry. So you have all of these tools. What can you open with them? In my opinion, you can open every single pin tumbler lock. You can pick every single high pin count lock, which includes dimple locks, such as, one moment, the multi-lock interactive or classic or MT5 Plus. You can see here, and this is even an unideal end with the flat 2. I'm able to pick all of these pins, one on the outer, and you can hear the drop, but you can see the inner is not influenced by the outer. You can see the inner that's there. And you can go through all of these pins, despite the fact that this is not a dimple flag, and you can pick this open. So you can pick maybe 99% of normal locks, 90% of dimple locks, and even past all of that, you can pick the ubiquitous locks that require certain special tooling, like the twin. Here, not only can you pick its top pins, but you can pick its side pins as well. Let's look here at this flat too. You can see on the sideways, let me get this into focus, sorry. On the sideways, you can put this just straight in. I'm going to get my hand off of that. It goes straight in. And on its side, you are able to pick its side pins as well. I'll do that. You can see its side pins in there. You're able to pick the side pins just as well as if you had used a flag tool. Just with this pick. And you know what? Altogether, this is 25 euros. 25 euros, that is about $40 Australian plus shipping. And I have great news for you all, because Moki is offering shipping to Australia now. So there is shipping to Australia. There will soon be shipping to the United States. If you didn't know, then great news. Moki will soon offer shipping to the United States, and especially through Lockpicker's Bench. And this set will be available through there. These picks are created in Germany with love. They are some of the best picks in the world. I don't have anything but praise to give to them. They are the best. If this kit was something to add on to, I would give bottom of the keyway tensioners. Moki sells a set of 4 bottom of the keyway tensioners with top of the keyway pins for maybe 15 euros. That's about $20 US, or in Australia about 30 Australian dollars. To go along with all of this, these handles are additional, but they are very fairly priced. If you have a 3D printer, you can make your own. And yes, if you need a pouch for these, or a holder for these picks, you can either make your own with a 3D printer. Moki offers all of his 3D prints for free. But if you don't want to 3D print your own, or you do not have something to 3D print with, like I don't, then you can buy a pouch for very cheap. It's a very well-made pouch. It's based on the Lockmaster design, which houses at least 5 picks on each side, as well as has extra compartments for at least 3 more. So at the very least, you will hold 16 picks, more tensioners, and anything else that you will need. I will be honest, these 3 picks are all I need. And in honesty, they are all that you will probably need as well if you want to buy them. Once again, the Bard set from Moki, that includes, all 3 of these picks and these 2 tensioners. Sorry about that. There is nothing more that I can say except that these are my favorite picks and my favorite tensioners. This is the single best kit if you want not to break the bank at 25 euros, as well as to open every single lock that you come across. There is nothing better, and that is all that there is to say. So thank you everyone for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope that you open all of the locks that you wish to with these picks. Thank you.